it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in on a very important aspect to understanding the dynamics of a covert narcissist, someone who is malignant, pathological, perhaps has a personality disorder, who underneath the surface has a endearing, oftentimes charming sense of entitlement about themselves. In other words, this entitlement causes them to take advantage of and limit the disclosure of information they share with others. They keep a lot tight-lipped. They keep a lot, behind their back, behind your back, swept under the rug, in the closet, in the other room, not upfront and honest. So this is a covert sort of way of being a narcissist. In other words, there is a lot that's going on, but you don't see it. It's kind of like a distraction. What you see is a mere distraction, really, of what's going on underneath. And it oftentimes alarms people and shocks them when they learn of this individual and their festering sort of maladaptive motives to talk about you behind your back, or say insultory things, or give you these looks which are less than pleasant. And I want to understand and help you understand the dynamics of this and how it adulterates or kind of perverts your own approach and avoid habit with these individuals, and how it can lead to a huge proliferation of denial in relationships. So it's a big topic, so hold on tight, put on your seat belts, pull up your bootstraps, and let's go. But before we get started, I just want to give a huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated to the channel. Thank you so much for your support. This is a non-profit. This is coming out of the generosity of my heart to provide tools, resources, and really the mechanics to understanding the cause that's created this effect, and help you to eliminate that so it's no longer an issue or burdening you in your life. So yes, please do donate to the channel. Your support really helps to keep it alive, to keep it going, to keep the resources fruitful here. And if we have been a positive influence, please do go to the About tab and make a donation, whatever denomination suits you, or that you feel you can put some skin in the game. Because really, when you do that, you're speaking up, you're saying that I am important and I need this content. So thank you so much for your ongoing support. It means so much to me. So let's really kind of zoom in and focus in on the entitlement of the covert narcissist and how this causes them to hold their breath, to keep a lack of communication as the norm, to keep their hands behind your back and you don't really know what's going on. The right hand doesn't know what the left is doing. You find out that they're involved in perhaps different thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and choices which are not apparent to you. They're not out in the open. They're not disclosed. And this is very hurtful because you feel like you're not being communicated honestly with, that there is this wall or impervious nature to them. And there's an entitlement that goes on, I feel, with the covert narcissist that feels that they are entitled to treat people this way. They're entitled to live this way. This is their right to be able to kind of keep a poker face, a stone face, and then do other things on the side, whether it's cheating, whether it's surfing the internet for other sort of information or relationships, getting on dating websites, getting on other sort of situations that are sort of betrayal to you even while you're in the relationship. And this is problematic. This is pathological, meaning it causes you to live in a sort of lie relationship. And if you're living in this, it's like your life is going in reverse. If you're not living your truth, if you're not embracing your truth, if you're not rigorously honest or able to have it all out there with these relationships, it tends to perpetuate this lie and this feeling that you cannot communicate. It also creates a syndrome of approach and avoid. So you kind of know that there's something going on, but you want to feel unconfrontational. You don't want to lose the relationship. You don't want to disrupt the apple cart. And you sort of begin to then be supportive of the entitlement of this person. In other words, to allow it to be. So, and eventually they end up getting away with this dishonest treatment, the pathological lying, they're kind of hiding in plain sight while they're with you. And hiding in plain sight just basically means that they're not giving you all the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Just like when you swear into court, do you promise just, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So the caveat there is the whole truth. In other words, they're not giving you the full story. They're not giving you the full rundown. They're not sharing with you exactly what they're doing, where they're going, and then you end up feeling mystified, like, what? You're moving? You didn't tell me you were going to do that. What? You're going on this and this trip, without me? And, so there's this feeling of not being clued in, of feeling clueless, of feeling helpless, powerless around this personality type. They're not, you can't, you're getting a half of a relationship. You're only giving half of the story, part of the story. And so it causes you to feel less than whole. And this less than whole feeling eventually incorporates, because your fullness, your wholeness is who and what you are. You're a whole, full human being. And that is your God-given place in this universe, is to be whole. You are enough. Until you wake up to that truth, you're going to be living in that denial mechanism that is perpetuated and caused by a covert narcissist relationship. What do we mean by that? That if you are not communicated with in the fullness, or you're in this sort of half disclosure relationship, you are going to eventually be cognizant of this, but have to avoid certain truths, certain needs. You're avoiding the truth, and this becomes perpetuated in the covert narcissist relationship, and then you're stuck in the denial phase. So this is really sort of following or formatted by the stages of grief, where eventually you become angry, you become infuriated, you become rebellious, you become resistant, you become caught up with all the defense mechanisms, whatever that might be for you. Stuffing food, stuffing alcohol, stuffing drugs, being chronically unemployed, underemployed, not embracing your full potential, your full human power. You're living sort of an angry life. And if you're living in that negative motion, it's keeping you out of your potential, it's keeping you out of your happy space. You're not able to enjoy life. You're not able to enjoy the relationship in the fullness. There's this feeling that there is something more, but you can't quite put a finger on it. It's a very elusive feeling, and that's because one of the traits of the covert narcissist is this entitlement, that they don't have to give you the background. They don't have to give you the full story. They don't have to give you the full deal. They don't have to, they don't have to, they don't have to. It's entitlement. And even when this would be important to you or crucial for you to stay in the relationship, it's that very act of withholding which keeps you in a trauma bond or a supply relationship, and not in a healthy, full-on, happy, functional relationship. The entitlement is really the conciliatory nature, the duplicitous nature. So this is what's really hard to snuff out or smoke out, is the fact that you're not getting, it's almost like a disrespect by not sharing, by not communicating, by being withholding. And so this can create a lot of anger and cause people to become in a very sort of coping, tolerating the relationship. There's a lot of, maladaptive choices then that can ensue while you're still trying to stay in this relationship. The approach avoid. You're beginning to confront them, but you don't know quite what it is, so then you become avoidant, and then you're perpetuated in that anger and then the denial stage. When you're looking at the stages of grief, denial means you don't want this to be the case. I don't want to feel this. This isn't right. This can't be. It's a rejection of the truth. And even though the truth would set you free, make you happy, give you the joy, the bliss, the liberation, and accepting that, it's very difficult to accept that because you're trying to hold on to something that is based on the judgment of this person. And so you can't really hold on to another's judgment, because then if you hold on to that, you're going to live in a state of being judgment and not good enough. So you need to let go of those chains, letting go of that experience that you are trying to either get back, impress, or prove something to another who feels that they have something to prove. I definitely feel that the covert narcissist, part of the problem and part of that stuntedness is when these individuals feel that they have something to prove, that they are better than for some specific reason, and they need others to kind of fuel their fire. So you become like the wood to their fire. You become consumed. You become relegated to the ashes. That you are like the fuel to help burn their fire, and then you feel you have nothing. It is a very, very painful relationship to be in the long run. So it does need to be understood, confronted within, and then released and let go so you can go on your merry way and stop being the wood to their fire and being sort of consumed. You are the fire, you are the bliss, you are the inspiration, you are the love. If they can't see your light, I know we're using like a lot of analogies, but we need to do this to help you understand how this is going on in your life and your consciousness. So when we talk about really the denial, it's rejecting of the truth. You're living your life in the backwards. You're living your life in the negative orderly direction thinking, and you're still stuck and attached to this dynamic of a pathological relationship. You cannot simultaneously maintain the lie and live your truth. It's coming out of the denial. It's being able to see things with rigorous honesty and clarity. And clarity is just when you come to a state of peace. So clarity doesn't have to be the struggle for the intelligent. It doesn't have to be for those who have only suffered for decades. Clarity is clarity. This awareness is. It's your higher truth. It is your peace. It is your place when you fully come to be and you're able to finally dissect it and detach from the struggle. And, detach from trying to create something which cannot be. Trying to make something happen that cannot happen. Trying to get something from somewhere where it's not going to come from. It is accepting of this habitual striving within that's causing the struggle. So that is the effect. So the procrastination, I talk also not only in my book, but the section of procrastination. And so listing 1 through 10 and then writing on top of the page what I have been procrastinating on. And then list 1 through 10, but you need to do this and just write it out without the internal drawback, the censor. You need to just let it rip, let it fly. A lot of people are anxious about writing. They're afraid of being perfect. What if I can't spell this? What if I'm not doing this right? What if this doesn't work? You've got this perfectionist mechanism, which is part of the denial. If you are stuck in denial and still, trying to pull from the relationship what you cannot get, it is to ultimately agree with yourself that you don't have what it takes. You don't have the goods. You don't have the juice. You don't have the DNA. You don't have the spark. You are not human. Really, when it boils down to it, and peace and harmony, yes, here, we boil it down to the real element here. I feel it's very important to get to the ultra basics. This is not oftentimes in your everyday language, but yet that is the goal of the channel, is to help you to truly understand this this factual basis. And we want to be very factual in the fact that you can't experience it. It is experiential knowledge. Experience is the best teacher. This is not a didactic or a teaching for eons, without it having some validity and truth. We want validity and truth and power on our side. That is going to empower you. And that is what you need to embrace within yourself. And when you can do that, you embrace yourself fully and you are charged up, you are energized once you realize this. And so the clarity is being able to come into your own body and detach from the entitlement that makes you feel that you're stuck in that judgment, better, good, better, best, wealthier, impoverished. You're stuck in that duplicity of judgment mindset. You need to eliminate that from your feeling mode. You need to stop that. But it's very difficult, I would agree, when there is a bombardment of this in media, in advertising. You're not pretty enough, you need to get this, you need to get that hair, you need to get that clothes. There's always this feeling that you are not good enough. That's what advertising oftentimes is that you are not good enough. And, from your buddy, Peace and Harmony here, who I had a hand in creating some multi-million-dollar new products, which I have no intellectual property to, but I created. I've got this creative mechanism where once I'm in the flow, I'm there. And interfacing with Fortune 500 companies, I signed away earlier in my professional career to my intellectual property. And so they're just like, I have so many new products which are on the US market. I don't even know, but they are with global companies that are making in the hundreds of millions in terms of profit. So I gave that up. That was part of my phase where I did not know better. I was giving to the corporation. So if you will, the corporation has that entitlement when they contract with people and they say, bring us, you've got these talents, we want to enlist you, we want to freelance you, we want to employ you for this mechanism, and you don't realize, satisfying their needs is enough. So you can have these sort of very, very extractive relationships or depleting relationships with your employer, with your spouse, with your ex-spouse, with your siblings, whoever it is, where they're sort of the bully, they're trying to be the monolith, and through this entitlement mindset or philosophy or structure that they can then do this and then get away with it. So it is to understand that, coming and emerging from it is to say it is to reclaim your personal power. And so, you're not, in other words, you're, sign off here. You're not getting the full deal. And those experiences have to be your learning experiences. And so you can write down, now that I know better, I will change by doing, and then list 1 through 20. Now that I know better, I will change by becoming, and list 1 through 20. I will change by doing. And then put your head down and write, and just let it fly off the page. I mean, even if it doesn't feel like you writing, that is a sign that you are on the right, you are in the right page. You're in the right mindset. We want to just help this come out of your subconscious mind, which is the seed of your personal power. It's not caught up in the everyday thoughts that you have every day that are just sort of, millimetering you along. You need to get some strides. You need to work on your strides in releasing that from your unconscious mind. And that is really the goal of the channel, is to help address this and ask you those open-ended questions which you don't usually inquire of yourself. You don't usually open that up, but we're trying to open up that space, that channel within you, so you can let it flow. So that's in the privacy of this video. You need to have pen and paper if you're doing this. You need to get a big, old, thick notebook and a pen that you love, and being able to, educate yourself along with these videos. In other words, now that I know better, an example for myself is I'm going to create new products that I have ownership of, and I have, creative ownership and trademark of. So that's a lesson learned. In other words, it's not to give away my personal power. Look what I'm doing here on YouTube. I do not earn money from this. The only way someone from YouTube earns money is if someone makes a donation, or if someone clicks on an ad, or something of that nature. We do not make money here. If you hear about people being YouTube millionaires, you might have PewDiePie who's got, a gazillion members. I don't even know. But, this, in other words, this is part of that. But I'm using this as a forum because I want to have this this philosophy where we can have an open community and hold hands together. Really, that's what this is about, and I am generating that. That is what my solution has, what I have created, what I have developed, what I have put together and want to share with you. And so that's going to be a lot of the content of the book that I'm working on, as well as the website. I find it's, I am a writer, and, with my energy and my health issues, there are some things I've had to combat and deal with, and your prayers are so very welcome. So thank you for your prayers for good health and energy for me, because it has been a battle this year, 2018. So thank you for sticking with me through it here. But we want to get into some more open-ended questions that can assist you to move through the denial phase. Now that I am no longer caught up in the denial, I would really love to become. Now that I'm no longer caught up in the denial, I would really love to feel. What avoiding and procrastinating taught me was, and what I tend to really procrastinate about is, write these topics at the top of your, write these questions at the top of your notebook, and then list 1 through 20. If you need to pause the video and write the 1 through 20, but then I want you to just answer the questions free stream of consciousness. This is how this works. This is what I have a passion for, because you'll find your subconscious has the seed of all the answers for you. It has all the knowledge. It has the solutions. It has your action steps. It has, it is your tutor. Your subconscious, along with, situations like this and working with a mentor, you can be your own personal guide and tutor. And we want to release that inner tutor, that inner guide that's helping to release and provide these new solutions, which hitherto you were not in touch with. And so it is to understand who you want to become, how you want to feel. These are the basics, but these are the profound. These are the seeds of the answer. This is where your energy resides. The anxiety, the shyness, the self-doubt, the feeling of denial that has ensued because of the pathology of this relationship and how it has hurt you. Enough is enough. Enough is enough, gang. It's not, you don't want to continue to keep the incessant loop of self-sabotage and, that self-distraction by staying in these relationships where you're feeling hurt, you're feeling ostracized, you're feeling scapegoated, you're feeling gaslighted, brainwashed. You need to stop tolerating this. Enough is enough. It's like the tolerance level, especially with those who are manipulated and covert narcissists, is so high. You develop a very large tolerance. Just like some people say you develop tolerance to alcohol or something. I guess alcohol you can develop a very high tolerance. So people who are alcoholic, they end up drinking like jugs of vodka. I cannot stand that stuff. It is unpleasant. I do not drink the hard liquor. It makes me throw up if I did. I don't want to feel that way. So that's undesirable. So you need to equate being in denial as undesirable as being sick, of being vomitous, of being horrendously ill. You need to equate, you need to have that sense of leverage over yourself where the pain is great enough that I absolutely positively, without a doubt, cannot live like this anymore. You need to be able to shout that out at the top of your lungs to be able to unshackle the denial or the lethargy or apathy that has resided within you and resided within your body. It will take up house there. It will take up it'll take up residency. It'll take up a larger part of your energy. It will keep you down, stuck. You need to get out of that funk, that mode, and that is what denial oftentimes is. So the payoff of denial is woe is me. It's the pity party. You don't want to be, living in that, because then you just carry that over into all your relationships and you stay in the same place. You feel that you're not going anywhere. So to liberate yourself is to say, I am liberated now. I am liberated now, and it feels so good. I am liberated now and it feels so good. So it's to pull yourself out of the trap, out of the jaws, out of the clenches of this pathological relationship, oftentimes which is laden with the acceptance of the pathological lies and that approach avoidance habit or habitual way of entering into relationships. And the problem with these is that it oftentimes causes you to not make friends in other areas of your life. You know, it causes people to be very limited. Once again, like we were discussing, your world becomes so small. You become less than you're meant to become. You don't know your full purpose. You're not into your own interests. You're not into your own, you know, happy space because you're in the negative, upset space. You're trauma connected. You're still attached. So it is the detaching, and it is the acceptance, it's the awareness, it's the consciousness. These are all big terms that you need to live in and experience. So I'm all about giving you the experience here and knowing that it is safe, fully charged, energized, and it's in a peaceful body where your body is open, you are erect, you're ready to receive. You need to be receptive in order to change. The problem with the covert narcissist is that they are not receptive. They are not open to change. They have no problem with pushing people around. They have no problem with being a bully. They have no problem with being duplicitous or conciliatory in nature. They have no problem living that way because that is how they operate. They have gotten away with it. Their charm has gotten them certain places. Whatever it is, you can't worry about them. You don't need to worry about them. You let them go 100% unequivocally and come into your own space, your own body, which is open, which is receptive. You need to be receptive in order to unearth that denial. And then be receptive enough for yourself to say, I forgive you for being battered. I forgive you for trying and climbing up the wrong tree. Your ladder was up against the wrong mountain with this. Let's move your ladder. Let's go into the positive, orderly direction thinking. You know, get your ladder up the right tree. Get your path. In other words, it's an analogy that I create here for setting your feet on a whole different path where you are upright and you're receptive and you've got a sense of self-protection and discernment. In other words, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no to these negative feelings. It's okay to say, I feel good and I'm going to be around others where I can feel good and not feel that I'm being lied to or being concealed to, because that's not a happy space for me. So it's becoming declarative in the tonality of your voice and your feelings. It's becoming more proclaiming. Getting more of an audacity, boldness, and courage about how you communicate, the tone of your voice, your delivery, and understanding your feelings. I will not be denied. I will not be denied. I will not live in denial any longer. I can do this. I hate denial. Use strong terms like this to get yourself out of the funk. You need to be serious. You need to be strong. You need to be real. And being real with yourself is the way of life that will help you to heal and stop this procrastination. The procrastination doesn't serve you. Living in half-truths, half-lives, one-third lies, whatever it is, it will not serve you. It'll only lead to embarrassment, frustration, and get you to not the life that you don't want to live. So please fill in these areas of your recovery journal. List them and just let it rip, let it fly, let the answers come, and then pay attention to that golden, jubilant voice you have within you. It will set you free and it will set you in the right direction every time. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.